Welcome back to Dog Health News. I'm Roberta Chadis, and because we have a large crowd here today, I'd like to start off with our special guest, Senator Joan Lovely. Welcome to Dog Health News.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Nice to be back. Thank you.
Yes, 3 years ago we did a show, and you only had one dog.
Yes.
That is our yellow lab. This is an English yellow lab.
Yes, correct.
Named Maddie,
Right.
who is sitting right here with me. And we have two other dogs. We have Ivy.
Ivy. She's also an English, and she is 6 years old. And we have Ivy's daughter here, Charlie, who's 11 months old, and she's wandering around the studio.
Yes, and here she comes.
Come on.
Whoop.
Come on. Come on, Charlie.
Gonna come right up here.
Come on.
Yep.
Come on. You can do it.
Whoa.
Okay. Didn't quite get that one. Okay.
I'm sure she'll
Sit
be
down.
up.
Sit.
So this is the first for Dog Health News, 3 dogs on a show. And I'm sure our audience would love to hear what you've been doing, just a little fill-in on where you're at, and then we'll hear about you and all of your dogs and other animals.
We
in
do
your
have other
home.
animals.
Yes.
That's a result of my, I have an associate's degree in large animal science, so a big pet lover, and my family are pet lovers, so we do have other animals at home, and we'll talk about that. But we've been busy in the state Senate working on a lot of bills. We filed almost 6,000 bills this session back in January, and each one of those 6,000 bills will get a hearing. And so they get funneled into about 42 committees. I sit on 5 committees this session, and I'm also an assistant majority whip. So I moved into leadership, which I'm very proud of.
That's great.
And in particular, we're working on a lot of animal bills. And I've signed on to a lot of bills that I think are very important, and for the further protection of our friends, our furry and feathered friends, finned friends, whatever types of animal friends we have out there. So that's what we're doing.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
So I think the first thing I'd like to do is catch up on your dogs.
Okay.
And your household.
Okay.
So
So Maddie was visited here 3 years ago when I was last on the show, and at the time I also had a Cairn Terrier, little Annie. Annie has since passed away at the age of 14. She was a wonderful pet, little Cairn Terrier. We had a lot of Cairn Terriers, but we've moved into the lab world. Just last year, about a year and a half ago, we adopted Ivy from a breeder on the Cape, who fosters out her breeding females when they are done with breeding, and Ivy is 6. But as a result of that, we had the opportunity to breed her and raise that litter, and we got to keep a puppy. So
Excellent.
we kept Charlie, and Charlie is 11 months old. She'll be a year on June 14th, and it's just been terrific. So we went from 1 lab to 3 in about a little over a year. They're terrific pets. I think they're the #1 pet in the
I believe
country.
they are, and as sad as I am, because I, of course, loved my golden retriever, they're almost the same.
They are.
Almost.
They absolutely are. Golden retrievers are wonderful. We've had Goldens as well. And we live near the Salem Woods. So these guys are in the woods probably at least 5 times a week. It's about a 3.5-mile trail. And my husband, she's trying to get the treat. Here.
Okay.
Here.
Whoop.
My husband and my oldest daughter, Jenna, who's here in the studio, walk them. I walk them when I'm able to, when I have the time. But they do get a lot of exercise, which big dogs need, especially this breed. Oh, are we okay? Oh, there we go.
Well, there
okay.
you go. It's just-
She's choking on the treat. Oh, okay. You okay? Okay, went down the wrong pipe. Okay, she's okay.
Okay.
So they need a lot of exercise, and these guys get a lot of exercise. Labs tend to be overweight.
Yes.
So we exercise them quite a bit. In the winter, they go to the beach and they swim. They're on the hot beach, in the water, in the surf. You know, when it's 20 degrees out, they're swimming. because labs love water. I actually did bring a life preserver today. I wanted to show the audience because these, we have a small boat, and these guys love to be out on the boat. So anytime they're on the dock or on the boat, they're in a life preserver. This is Charlie's. I just picked this up for this summer, but I have two identical ones back at home, and these work really great. Then they can be safely in the water and swimming, and we can keep them safe because they can get tired. But we can also lift them in and out of the boat with this. It doesn't look like that straps much for a 75-pound lab, but it works.
So would you suggest using something like that even if a dog is only on the beach?
It depends on how good the swimmer, the dog is as far as swimming goes.
It's not a bad idea if you're worried about your dog.
Well, the puppy, we had her on the beach last month, and she saw some ducks out in the surf, and she started to swim out after them, and I did not have a preserver on her for that. But I thought to myself, you know, that's a good idea for her because she's still in that training phase of an 11-month-old.
And then, of course, you need a strong swimmer to go out and get her.
Yeah, or a long leash. Keep her on a long leash, and the water's still quite cold.
Yeah.
So,
and speaking of ducks.
Yes, speaking of ducks. So we have, I have two ducks at home, call ducks. Call ducks are the bantam of the duck world, so they're the smallest duck. The full-grown, they're about this big. Why were they called call ducks? Because hunters back in the day would put them in the ponds, and the females have a very loud quack. The males have a very soft quack, almost a hoarse quack.
Yeah.
And the females were very, very loud. And so they would quack and call the wild ducks down, and the hunters would shoot the wild ducks. They don't use them for that anymore. That was back in the 1800s. But they're a sweet little friendly pet. They're really wonderful pets, and I actually show them at the Topsfield Fair. So
that's great.
It's fun. And
so this fall we'll be able to see you.
You will. You will see lovely,
or any fall.
lovely call ducks back at the Topsfield Fair in October.
That's great.
We also have 3 chickens, laying hens. So I get 3 beautiful organic eggs every day from my girls, and and so we have a coop set up with heat in the winter. And penned because chickens and ducks can, something's going to come get them, a hawk or some other type of predator, so we keep them protected. And actually they get along great with the labs when we let them out of the pen, but they're mostly segregated.
That's so interesting. I don't know how you do it all because I see you everywhere.
Yeah, my husband says I'm crazy.
Really? So I'm interested in, actually, let's just talk a little bit about food and what you're feeding your labs.
So they get very few table scraps. It's really not good for dogs to get table scraps. I'll give them leftover vegetables. Occasionally, maybe some chicken or some beef, but nothing else. No crackers, no cookies, no nothing.
Good to hear.
And that's very, very, very occasionally. But they actually eat a high quality pet food that I buy at the pet store. It's more expensive than supermarket quality pet food, but this is a salmon-based dog food. Because labs are such big shedders, it really just keeps their coat beautifully soft and shiny, and it cuts way back on the shedding. Now, it's a little higher in fat than most dog foods, so I do have to keep, especially these 2 girls, they get rationed, but they get plenty. It's within the requirements for what they need. The puppy, on the other hand, she gets more because she's still growing. She needs higher protein.
Sure.
But that's, and plenty of fresh water. I am constantly filling their water bowl to make sure they have fresh water all the time. And that's what they get.
That's great. Have you had to deal with any health issues at all with your dogs?
No health issues, none. They're vetted regularly. They do, as far as like flea and tick season, which is back. I don't think the tick season ever went away. You know, if it seemed like anytime we still brought them in the woods, that someone would come back with a tick on them, even in the winter. So we examine them every time they come back from the woods, but they also get the flea and tick treatment that you put in their skin, and it lasts for about 3 months. But even still, they'll still come back with a tick now and again.
They're everywhere.
They are, and you know, especially with Lyme disease, you just can't be too careful. We examine ourselves as well when we come back from the woods. So, yep. So lots of exercise, lots of fresh water, and good nutrition, and you'll have healthy pets.
And they look extremely happy.
Yeah, they are.
Dogs are very, very
They're wonderful.
happy. Such a pleasure.
Yeah.
I can't believe you actually took all 3.
I almost
That
brought
was
the
really
ducks today,
funny.
but I couldn't find my duck carrier.
No.
So I could have ducks here today too, but
I feel very blessed. So this is Maddie, this is Ivy,
Yep.
and Charlie's. She's taking a little siesta.
she's on the nice cool tile floor, and so
Yeah.
Yep, dogs
Yeah.
are pretty smart. They'll try to
That's
stay
great.
cool where they can. This one is a love. I mean, she will just let you pat her, you know, all the time. They're really wonderful. Yes, and at home, because we have wooden tile floors, they actually have dog beds that they lay on downstairs, and then at night they do come up to my bedroom, where they actually sleep on a special futon. That's just for the dogs. Yep, and it's off the ground, and it's just theirs, and they love it. They can spread out, and yep. So we spoil them.
Taking good care
Yes,
of
absolutely.
these dogs.
Absolutely.
But you're also taking good care of us and a lot of other dogs.
Yes.
So I will open the floor. What would you like to talk about as far as a hot bill that's out there?
So almost 100 bills got filed for pets, for pet protection. And one particular bill is called the Beagle Bill, which I signed on to. A local couple actually brought this to my attention. And what it does, it's an act to protect animals used in research. It was sponsored by the minority leader, Senator Bruce Tarr from Gloucester, terrific partner in the Senate. And so what happens is research institutions will use, you know, different types of animals, including dogs, and mostly the Beagle breed. I was not aware of this.
Yeah.
So, and what happens is when they're done with their scientific and medical or educational research, they'll euthanize the dog instead of offering that dog up for adoption. So this bill would require them to offer the dog up for adoption. And so it's a really good bill. Again, I was unaware that dogs, especially beagles, were being used in research. So we want to be able to make sure that that dog has a great home after it's been used in the research world.
Absolutely.
Another bill that I co-sponsored, and this is sponsored by Senator Spilka. She's our chair of Ways and Means. Is an act to protect puppies and kittens, and this has to do with pet stores. So we hear a lot about puppies and kittens coming from large breeding operations that aren't always the best, and so we want to make sure that they're not being sold from a pet store any younger than 8 weeks of age.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll see a puppy or a kitten that's 6 weeks of age, really too young to be in a pet store or to be separated from their mother.
Right.
8 weeks really is the standard minimum age. And so we want to make sure that, again, these breeding farms, if you will, are selling good quality, healthy pets, puppies and kittens that are a minimum of 8 weeks of age and in a very good health. So we would prefer not to see these big breeding operations. There's a few in Massachusetts, but mostly they're in other parts of the country from the Midwest. We also want to make sure that if this puppy or kitten is sick, that it's not just to return the animal to the pet store. We want that animal to be vetted. The pet store will pay for those vet bills, because once you've purchased a puppy or a kitten, you're attached. You do not want to return that for another animal like it's, a commodity.
And then what happens to the sick pet?
Right, exactly. So we want to make sure that you're going to be reimbursed. for all of your vet bills if something happens. We hear stories of, you know, someone purchasing what they think is a healthy pet, and they take the pet home, and then there's a problem.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we've got that covered. Another really great bill that I really like, and I again co-sponsored this, is an act protecting abandoned animals in vacant properties. So sometimes people will move, whether they're moving from a rental or, you know, they've sold their home, and they'll leave their pets behind. I don't understand.
Just leave them in the building?
Well, they do. They'll leave them. They'll abandon them in the property. It happens more in rentals. Perhaps you're going on to the next rental and you can't bring your pet with you, but you can't abandon your pet either. So this requires, abandoning an animal is a felony. It's against the law, and it's a felony. So, but many people still will leave after a foreclosure or maybe after an eviction.
This is in Massachusetts?
Yeah, this is across the country. So this bill, is particular to Massachusetts, would require landlords and foreclosing owners to check the unit immediately for an abandoned animal, and then to contact animal control and let them know that a pet has been left behind. Because sometimes, right.
Good to know. Now, for our audience, would there be some place that they should go? Is it the MSPCA or?
So if they're interested in any of these bills, you can go right to the 190th General Court on mass.gov. We are in the 190th session. So we have 2-year sessions. That's how long the State House, the state legislature has been around. 190th. And they can go right Google my name or animal bills in Massachusetts, and these bills will come up. And we certainly love to hear from people to let us know how they feel about these bills, you know, they want us to support them. And let me tell you that the people in the pet world love their pets.
Yes,
we hear from them a lot. So I'm very, very grateful that we hear from our constituency. So those are some of the bills that we're working on this session to protect our pets.
So I'm curious, how long does it take for a bill to actually go through?
The process?
Yes.
So that's a very good question. So we have 2-year sessions, as I had mentioned, and the bills will they get put into committees. And so these will, once these have been heard, we try to move the bills to the floor for a vote. It can take up to 2 years, all of that 2-year session.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't get it to the floor, so we refile a bill. And so we'll refile it the next session. So sometimes it can take 2 to 3 sessions to get a bill to be enacted as law.
So you have to be patient and determined.
Yes.
To get something through.
Because 6,000 bills get filed, there's a lot of competition to get bills to the floor. And of those 6,000, about 600 are enacted as law. So there's a tremendous amount of competition to get bills to the floor and to the governor for his signature. So we work very hard at advocating for our bills to leadership and to get them to the governor. Yeah.
And after they're passed as a bill, is that it? Do they ever get canceled or taken back?
So sometimes when we pass a bill and then it becomes enacted and it becomes law, sometimes we can see that we didn't think of something, or maybe it had an unintended consequence. So we would go in and amend a law to make it either stronger or to again, maybe we don't want that as a law anymore. So we would do amendments, but again, it goes through the exact same process. You file it as an amended bill, and then it goes through the exact same kind of funnel.
I mean, it's good because it does have to go through all of these things, but the time involved is...
It's extremely thorough process, and I think that's a good thing. I really do. I don't think we should pass laws willy-nilly. I think they really, truly need to be really vetted. Some people, and I'll hear from all sides on bills that I filed, people that are supportive, people that don't like the bill, and so we take that all into consideration, again, as we research and make sure that we've done it right.
Is there any bill that's out there that you're worried about, especially for animal rights?
Well, I guess I wouldn't. I guess I would be not worried, but I want to be able to see these bills become law. That's why we're working so hard. And we work a lot with the advocacy groups, with the MSPCA and other groups to make sure that, again, that we're getting these bills where they need to be so we can enact them into law and protect our furry friends, our feathered friends, our fin friends, all of the above.
That's great. Charlie, you really want to come up here. I know you do.
Want to come up?
We have a little step over here. But
Come on.
come on.
Can you come
Maybe
up?
with a little encouragement.
Yeah,
But,
maybe another treat.
She is beautiful. I love these dogs.
They're really, we get so much pleasure, out of them. They're like family. I mean, well, they are family. They're like having, I've got 3 kids and now 3 dogs. They're like having children.
Well, they're very well behaved, and I think it's good for people to see that you can have 3 very big dogs. How much do you think they weigh?
She's about 80 pounds. These 2 are about 80 pounds. They're a little overweight because labs tend to be. We haven't weighed this one recently, but I want to say she's probably about 60 pounds.
Okay.
And that's right about where she should be for her age. And so, yeah, they're really a lot of fun. But like pets, they are responsible. It's a lot of responsibility. They are quite a bit of work. And so you just have to know, if you're going to have 3 labs, what that entails.
That's true. And just a little more on the breeding. I'm curious how that happens. I mean, I know how it happens, but
Right.
I don't
So-
know the process that you went through.
Right. So we were actually looking to breed Maddie, and met a breeder from the Cape, who we became acquainted with, and we did an unsuccessful breeding with her. It was our first time. It was 2 years ago. She was 5 years old. She was really at the cusp of when it's either now or never. And the breeding didn't take, and we weren't going to try it again. We just decided, you know what, we didn't start early enough, although she was well within the safe range for breeding, but it didn't work. And so, but we became friendly with this breeder, who then said, I have a program where I foster out my females. I have this female that I'd like to foster out if you're interested. I'm going to breed her one more time. And, kind of as a foster gift, you get to keep a puppy. So,
Nice.
So we took her, and the breeder bred her, and she had only 4 puppies. Her other litters, this was her 4th litter, her other litters were 7, 8 puppies. I was actually pleased with 4 puppies.
Did you have to care for them, right?
We did all the work.
Yeah.
We did all the work, and so she had 2 boys and 2 girls, and the breeder took the other 3, and we kept Charlie. And so when Charlie is 2 years old, Charlie's just coming up on a year, as I'd mentioned, but when she's 2, we will reconnect with the breeder, and we will breed her then. But she needs to be fully grown before she can be bred. So these come from a champion background. Her father was a yellow lab and
Really?
a champion. And actually, we will breed her with a yellow lab, and she should have blacks and yellows. When
I want to see those.
Yes, yeah. So we'll do that. Probably a year from now, when she's fully grown and ready to be bred. And we're just doing this as a hobby.
Yeah.
And we will sell the puppies to to good homes through probably recommendations of the breeder, because she's very particular about her homes where her dogs go. And so we're just we were just pleased to be able to kind of walk into this a little more of the lab world, and just so enjoy the breed.
That's great.
Yes.
Charlie's just about had it, I think.
Yes, you're a
Now,
good
is there
girl.
any wisdom, any advice that you would like to give our audience about owning a dog or taking care of a dog?
Again, it's a commitment, and it comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility. So they have to be. I work pretty much full time, but I have a family that my husband works locally. So he's able to be in and out during the day. My daughter, who is here, works locally as well in Salem as an attorney. So You just, I think it's hard for a lot of families that they're gone all day, you know, and the pet may be alone for 8, 9 hours.
Oh,
That
I
can be
know.
difficult. So I think that if that were the case for us, I probably wouldn't own any dogs. But because they do need companionship, they are a companion animal, and we just again we really enjoy this breed. They go everywhere with us, and if I could get them on an airplane and take them on vacation with me, I would.
Speaking of which, it's not a good idea these days to take pets on airplanes. I don't know.
No, right, and these they're so large they'd have to be crated and
Yeah.
go in the belly of the plane. So they'll stay home.
I'll volunteer to stay with them.
Okay, you're on. But you know, just know that again, commitment and responsibility to own animals,
Absolutely.
and just take good care of them. And you shouldn't run into any health problems. You know, so
That's
yeah.
great.
Yep.
That's great. Well, I know you're busy,
yes,
and I know you have to get these beautiful dogs home. And I just really can't thank you enough, Joan, because it's nice for people to hear from the source. And how many years have you been doing the work that you've been doing?
so I'm in the Senate. I'm in my 3rd term. So this is starting my 5th year.
Yeah.
And 15 years prior to that, I was a city councilor in Salem, also a lawyer, although I don't practice much law these days because of my Senate commitment. But you have to have life outside of your work world. And so this is what we do. We enjoy our pets. I like to garden. We do have a small boat, so I enjoy boating. And spending time with my family. It's so important.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, you have to balance it because all work
definitely.
and no play is not a good thing.
Well, that's what we love about our dogs.
That's right.
And just as a small gift, I am going to give you my Good Boy Jesse book
Thank
about my
you.
golden retrievver, and
Your
you can even
beautiful
listen to
dog.
it on a
Oh, wonderful. I
CD.
will.
yeah,
I'll listen to it going into work
Yeah.
during my commute.
and you'll probably get a good kick out of that.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
He was a beautiful
Thank you.
dog.
He's beautiful.
And
Beautiful
that's
dog.
Juniper Cove.
Oh, Juniper Cove?
Juniper Cove.
Yep.
Juniper.
In Salem?
Yes.
Juniper, yep.
Yeah. So I've.
Beautiful. How long has he been gone?
He's been gone a long time.
Yeah.
Well over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But for some reason, these dogs do not go ever.
They don't.
They're always there in spirit somewhere.
We have framed photographs of our pets that have passed on because they're so meaningful to our lives.
That's the beauty.
Yep.
So thank you once again.
Thank you.
We
Thank you,
hope to
Roberta.
hear
Thank
more
you.
about what you're doing.
Great.
And this is Roberta Chadis with Dog Health News. We'll see you again soon.